Good evening. We are into the 13th lecture on this course on applied electromagnetics. And today we are going to deal with generalized curvilinear coordinate system. Okay, so basically I am going to just give some introduction to begin with on generalized curvilinear coordinate system. Very brief introduction, and then since we already learned the orthogonal coordinate systems such as cylindrical and spherical polar coordinate system, apart from the well-known and familiar Cartesian coordinate system, I am just going to draw some analogues on the definitions for the infinitesimal line element, and then based on that we will define gradient, divergence and curl of vector functions. Gradient of a scalar function, divergence and curl of a vector function. In these coordinate systems, the reason is because when we deal with problems to determine electric and magnetic field, we will invoke symmetry such as a cylindrical symmetry. Then we have to get the divergence for the electrical field in that cylindrical symmetry, or when we talk about spherical shell or solid sphere, we will have to invoke spherical coordinate system, and we will be employing the divergence equation for the electric field, that is namely the Gauss law or the integral form. In either way, we require to know these coordinate systems and able to determine the gradient, divergence, curl with those symmetries such as the cylindrical and spherical symmetry. So let us try to get into drawing some parallels between different orthogonal coordinate systems in comparison with generalized coordinate system. Before that, I would like to introduce this generalized coordinate system, curvilinear coordinate system. When I say generalized curvilinear coordinate system, what I mean is, if you look at, this is what I mean actually. If you look at rectangular coordinate system, all the three axes they run linear lengths only, like x distance along x direction, y distance along y direction, they all represent linear lengths, and z distance along z axis. If you look at cylindrical symmetry, we encountered two linear parameters, namely the radius and the height of the cylinder z. So rho, phi, z. So rho and z are linear parameters. Phi, the azimuthal angle that the radial projection makes on the with the x-axis, that is the defines the phi angle. That is the only angular parameter. Now, if you look at spherical parameter, we have a sphere where if you want to define any point in with a on the surface of the sphere, we need one linear parameter, that is the radial distance to the point, and the other two involves the angular parameters, namely, so we specify the point in spherical symmetry as r, theta and phi, where the theta is defined as the angle that a radial vector makes with the z-axis, and phi is again the projection of the radial vector on the xy plane that makes with the x-axis. So remember all those concepts. Now in generalized curvilinear coordinate system, again we restrict ourselves to the discussion on orthogonal coordinate system, which means the three axes, however they are, that unit vectors will be mutually perpendicular, however they are oriented. The three unit vectors at any point. Only thing is, in generalized curvilinear coordinate system, they won't be linear. We will be encountering in all the three directions curved paths. So how do I deal with this? The technique is very simple. The technique is simply captured in this formula, angle equal to arc by radius. These are the sum and substance to derive the relationships between the various orthogonal coordinate systems. Okay, so having said that, let us talk about this one. For, let me say, for example, let us say I want to describe a point in generalized curvilinear coordinate system. I have to travel some curved path along certain direction, and then along another direction I have to travel another curved path, then the third direction. So the curved path is actually captured in this arc length, how much distance I need to travel. So I can actually see that with respect to angle, I can see this formula. And let me say at the outset that I define the unit vector directions in the curvilinear coordinate system to be L1 hat, L2 hat, L3 hat. Okay, so correspondingly, the infinitesimal displacements along those three directions will be dl1, dl2, dl3. So that is exactly what is captured here. So you can see that I have got a parameter linking this. This pictorial representation tells you that I linked this curved path on the three axes with a linear parameter and an angular parameter. So that is exactly what it is. dl1 is related to, dl1 is nothing but a1 ds1, dl2 is a2 ds2, dl3 is a3 ds3. So if you see here, a1, a2, a3 all are linear parameters. ds1, ds2, ds3 are all angular parameters. Now this is infinitesimal displacement along the L1 direction, dl1, infinitesimal displacement along the L2 direction such as dl2, the infinitesimal displacement along L3 direction, dl3. With that in mind, okay, with that in mind, we are going to capture, we can define dl as the net infinitesimal displacement along the three direction. Then I can write it as dl equal to dl1 L1 hat plus dl2 L2 hat. That is, I am making a moment of dl2, infinitesimal displacement. dl stands for elemental length along the direction L2 plus dl3 L3 hat. So this is the infinitesimal displacement in a generalized. So I want you to keep in your mind a1, a2, a3 are a1, a2, a3 are linear parameters, ds1, ds2, ds3 are angular parameters. With that in mind, and the lessons that we have already known for the Cartesian system, for the cylindrical symmetry, for the spherical symmetry, which I just narrated a while ago, I can summarize this table as it is. And this table clearly is self-readable. However, I will briefly explain. So in generalized curvilinear coordinate system, I define unit vectors to be L1 hat, L2 hat, L3 hat. The differential lengths along these three directions are dl1, dl2, dl3. The linear distance, which is the linear distance, is a1, a2, a3, and the angular parameter, because in generalized curvilinear coordinate system, all of them, all the three directions involve angles. So I will write it as ds1, ds2, ds3. Now, what we know already from there, what I am trying to see is I am capturing by comparing what I already know about RCS cylindrical coordinate system and SCS coordinate system. It is very, very evident here. AX hat, AY hat, AC hat are the unit vector directions in the rectangular coordinate system. In cylindrical, A rho hat, A phi hat, AC hat. In spherical polar coordinate system, it is AR hat, A theta hat, A phi hat. Having said that, the corresponding infinitesimal lengths along these three directions are dx, dy, dc in along the xy direction, xyz direction in rectangular coordinate system, and in cylindrical coordinate system, it is d rho, d phi, rho d phi rather, because I am involving a angle rho d phi and dc along the three directions, the infinitesimal displacements, and in spherical polar I got only one linear parameter, rest of the twos are in angles, therefore I got to use this picture. Now you can, once you write this, you can actually capture, I can just compare these two. If I compare it, I can say in this case it will become a1, a2, a3 will be nothing but, so dl1 will be, you multiply these two dl1 will be, you multiply these two parameters, a1 into ds1, a2 into ds2 will be dl2, a3 into ds3 will be dl3. Likewise, dx into 1. So all of them are linear parameters. Therefore, the linear distance is 1 unit. But in case of cylindrical polar coordinate system, we have one of them is involving angle. So there I got to multiply by with the factor rho. But in spherical polar, two of them involves angle. One is theta, the other is phi. So therefore, I can write the linear distance to be a radial direction along in the theta, then this fellow is like t phi. So if you see here, the infinitesimal displacement, if I were to write in spherical polar coordinate system, it becomes dr along ar hat direction plus r d theta along theta direction a theta hat plus r sin theta d phi a phi hat. I hope this is very clear. If you remember this table, then everything becomes super simple to derive the formula for the gradient of a scalar function, divergence of a vector function, the curl of a vector function. All the three I can actually gradient, divergence and curl. All the three I can evaluate in this cylindrical coordinate system and the spherical polar. Just to again recall, if I have a wire which is uniformly charged, I want to calculate field due to this uniformly charged wire. I can consider this wire to be in cylindrical coordinate system and then work out. Same thing, if the wire carries a current, the magnetic field around this, then I need the bring the right hand thumb rule and the magnetic field will be circling around this wire. I can invoke cylindrical symmetry to nail the problem. So in such problems, if you use Gauss law or Ampere's law, the problem becomes much simpler because we have the symmetry in play. Moment the symmetry comes, the estimation of the field will become super simple as compared to estimating the field from the fundamental Coulomb's law or from the Biot-Savart law. That is what this things going to be. Right now we are learning the mathematics and or rather to say correctly mathematical tricks to evaluate this gradient, divergence and curl in spherical polar coordinate system, cylindrical polar coordinate system, that is curvilinear coordinate system. So keep that aspect in mind. The derivations for this stuff will be for the generalized curvilinear coordinate system will be taken up later when we talk about divergence function with respect to Gauss law and curl function with respect to Ampere's law. At that time, I will discuss the derivation depending on the available time and how the classes go on during this COVID period. Okay, so that all depends on so many factors. Let us see how it goes. So mathematical form of gradient in cylindrical coordinate system and spherical coordinate system. This is exactly what our aim is. Otherwise, everything is super simple. Here I take t as the scalar function, and in this case, I will write generic form is dou t by dou L1 plus L1 hat, dou t by dou L2, L2 hat plus dou t by dou L3, L3 hat. Now, if I expand these partial derivatives for the dou L1, dou L2, dou L3, I will get A1 dou S1, A2 dou S2, A3 dou S3. Now, once I write this thing, and if I remember that table which I set a while ago, you can easily capture the thing. We know that A1, A2, A3 are all 1 and dou S1, dou S2, dou S3 all are linear parameters in Cartesian coordinate system. So if I substitute dou S1 to be dou X1, dou X, dou S2 to be dou Y and dou S3 to be dou Z, and A1, A2, A3 are 1, then I will end up getting, this is already we know it, but only thing is we do not know how to represent the gradient of a scalar function in cylindrical coordinate system and spherical polar coordinate system. So let us talk about the gradient function. You remember, gradient represents the slope. The magnitude of the gradient represents the slope along the direction of steepest ascent of the function. Now, so gradient of a scalar function is a vector. That is exactly what it is here. And similarly, in cylindrical coordinate system, we know A1 to be 1, A3 to be 1, A2 is rho, dou S1 will be dou rho, dou S2 will be dou phi, dou S3 will be dou Z. So substituting that, we get this. Now, for the spherical polar coordinate system, I have like, what do I have here? A1 will be 1 because it's a linear parameter, radial direction. A2 is R. A3 is what? R sin theta. So, and dou S1 will be dou R, dou S2 will be d theta, dou S3 will be d phi. So substituting that, I can write it. So these, so super simple. If you remember this expression, and since I have nailed the concept of cylindrical coordinate system building from fundamentals, same is the case with spherical polar coordinate system. Remembering these expressions, you don't have to remember for the every system separately. It is enough to remember this generic formula and then drive the, it is enough to remember this generic formula and drive the other expressions, knowing the A1, A2, A3 and dou S1, dou S2, dou S3. Okay. Let us talk about a gradient of a scalar function, t equal to root of x square plus y square plus z square. Purposefully, I have given this in Cartesian coordinate system. I can solve this problem like this. Very simple. It is, if you differentiate this function, we will get del t. Del t will be half into, so you first differentiate this square root function. So it will become, it becomes minus half. That becomes 1 by square root, and then you differentiate this along x direction, along y direction, along z direction. Once I differentiate, I get this expression. This 2 is common all over here. The 2 will get cancelled, leaving x hat plus y hat plus z hat like this. So this is what it leaves. So what is this function? This function we know it's a radial vector to a point from origin. Okay, this is the radial vector to a point in space from the origin. Okay, so del t, so this is simply can be radial vector r vector divided by, and this one is the modulus of that vector. So you take vector r dotted with onto itself, I will get the modulus. So I can see that you will get r hat. Now this result is not surprising because the slope is 1. The rate of increase of this function is 1 as we expect. The distance from the origin to the point increases rapidly along the radial direction. Okay. Now if I deal this problem with simply with the spherical polar coordinate system, I can easily get del r to be equal to 1 or a r hat. So we will get the same result that we are getting here, which is not surprising. Okay. So you can see very simple example which I gave. You need so many steps, but if I invoke the spherical symmetry, I can get it in one step. So, okay. We can do the same problem in Cartesian coordinate. We can do it in spherical coordinate system. No matter what, we should get the same result. However, invoking a symmetry simplifies the problem if there such a symmetry exists. So you have to understand the problem and look at the problem and see what is the symmetry, get the right symmetry, nail the problem. Okay, so that is about it. Now go to divergence. Divergence, if you look at it, divergence of the q is the vector function, and we want to determine for that function. I will tell you what is this function. Okay, just a minute. So this is my vector in general. This is my generalized curvilinear coordinate system. This is my function. Given function is there. Again, I will derive this expression at the time of divergence. When I discuss about, we will take, flux flow. Okay, divergence. You remember the divergence theorem, and we can actually estimate two ways of estimating the flow, total flow. Either go around the boundary for a volume will be a surface, and evaluate the flux integral. Alternatively, I calculate the number of facets inside a volume and see how much each facet is pouring out, sum it up, okay, from the divergence. That's it. Over the volume, you will get that same result. So the divergence, this formula, you will be able to get it during the discussion of the Gauss theorem. I will discuss then. Okay. Now, right now, we know what are A1, A2, A3. We know dou S1, dou S2, dou S3, and we know the components. So given a vector, I can actually see this vector function Q is actually rho sin phi A rho hat plus rho square Z A phi hat plus Z cos phi AC hat. So this is my function. Now I want to determine the divergence of this vector function. So what are the components along the three directions in the cylindrical coordinate system given vector function? Rho sin phi along A rho square Z along A phi, Z cos phi along AC hat, along Z direction. So three components have been known. Now this one, what are representing in the bracket, are the components of this vector function. Okay, so this is the component. So I can put this, for example, if I were to evaluate this, let us see what is the step. Next step I need to do. The next step will be what is A1, A2, A3. First find out that. So write down that values. What are A1, A2, A3 for? Recognize the given vector function is the cylindrical coordinate system. That is the number one step. Step 2 is write the formula for generalized curvilinear coordinate system. Draw parallels for A1, A2, A3, dou S1, dou S2, dou S3 between this generalized curvilinear coordinate system with the cylindrical coordinate system. We know A1 will be 1, A2 is rho, A3 is 1. Dou S1 will be dou rho, dou S2 will be dou phi, dou S3 will be dou Z. Once you know that, we can write this del dot Q as what I have written, because I have A2, A3 within the bracket. Be careful here. I want to make one point here. This with respect to dou rho is differential function. Therefore, I can take sin phi out for the first term, but I cannot take in the A2, A3. There is going to be one rho coming. That rho should not be taken out of it because rho is differentiable function. That is why I said the unit vectors themselves are differentiable in cylindrical coordinate system and spherical polar coordinate system. Therefore, one needs a special representation for divergence of a function, vector function in cylindrical and spherical, because unit vectors are themselves differential. So therefore, differentiable. Therefore, I cannot take this rho outside of the bracket and cancel with this. Okay, our temptation to do that, but desist from employing such a temptation. Do not give in to your temptation. Just differentiate step by step, you will get the answer. Okay, so once the differentiation is super simple, so I'm not going to get into seeing here. So you can see only the second term, there is no phi component given in the second term. Therefore, this differentiable, the second term will be 0. Therefore, leading to 2 rho sin phi plus rho cos phi for this, because Z cannot be taken out, cos phi can be taken out. So dou Z by dou Z will be 1, and there is a A1, A2 is there. So there is a row which is missing. So let me put that row over here. So that row is missing over there. The row needs to be there. So let me write that row. You get that. Okay. So once I have that, okay, I wrote it in this little bigger, but you might question me if I were to use a different letter size. So rather I will use the same letter size and same symbol here. Oops. So if I have to use the same symbol, all I need to do is capture this so that I don't mislead you. Control V. So once I do that, I will get that result. So that row can be taken out, cos phi can be taken out, dou c by dou c is 1. So leaving rho cos phi here, and you can see that. Okay, that is the right way of doing things. So it did not strike my eye to begin with when I prepared this PPT. Now I see it, I corrected it. So you have del dot q equal to 1 by rho 2 rho sin phi plus rho cos phi. So I am getting there, and then once I do that, the rho it's getting cancelled. You can see 2 sin phi plus cos phi. So at any point in space, say for example, I am given phi to be 90 degree. What is the del dot q at 190 degree and 1? So at that point I want to evaluate. All I need to do is, because there is no z and rho component here, all I need to worry about is the angle, which is 90 degree. Sin 90 is 1, cos 90 is 0. So the del dot q at 191, at that point del dot q will be, answer will be simply 2. Okay, so you can get that. That is the way to do the problem. Now the last function which we want to know is actually we want to find mathematical form of curl in cylindrical coordinate system and spherical polar coordinate system. So again, this curl will be defined at the time of derivations. I will show for Ampere's law. I will describe the derivation for curl. That time I will tell you how to arrive at the formula that I am going to show here. So this is the formula. So here you can see that I have written the very generic formula. We know what is L1 hat, L2 hat, L3 hat. We know what is A1, A2, A3. We know what are these dou S1, dou S2, dou S3 for cylindrical and spherical. So simply substitute. For example, if I were to write for cylindrical coordinate system with this formula, okay, all I need to do is A1 is 1, A2 is rho, A3 is 1. So I will have simply outside in cylindrical coordinate system 1 by rho here. This will become 1, L1 hat. So what is that? A rho hat. L2 hat will be A phi hat, and A2 is rho. So here it becomes rho A phi hat, and here A3 is 1, L3 hat will be AC. So simply it will become AC hat. And dou S1, dou S2, dou S3 will be dou rho, dou phi, dou C. Substitute there appropriately, you will get the expression for curl you can determine. So the whole exercise was to help you developing when we talk about curl and this one. If I want to develop for the mathematics sake of completeness, I have given this formula straight away. All you need to draw is draw the parallels between the rectangular coordinate system and with this generalized coordinate system, or cylindrical coordinate system with the generalized, or spherical coordinate system with the generalized. Determine the linear and the angular parameters, substitute appropriately, you will get the expression for the curl. So here is a problem I am going to give you. So this problem is all about, this is the problem, and I have to get for this function, given function A, I have to get curl of that vector function. Given function is rho z square z a rho hat plus rho cube a phi hat plus 3 rho z square a c hat. So once I substitute accordingly, I will get that expression. Okay, so that is about this problem. So once I have this, I will have 3 rho z square and I get all those things. Okay, so that is about the problem over here. Okay, so once I substitute here, you will get this 4 rho square. Okay, so this is along AC direction. So let us, how do I do this determinant? Is something very super simple. If I leave the first term, I have to leave the first column and first column and first row. I leave. I am having the cross terms here. So I have to look at this 4 terms and cross multiply, subtract. For this term, I will have. So remember this expression. If you remember this expression, then this becomes super simple. Okay. So with that, I think you are getting this feel for determining. So all I want you to take home message from this class is how to compute gradient, divergence and curl in cylindrical coordinates system and spherical polar. That is what it is. The only 2 things that I want you to remember, of course, that is not the right way of learning, but I want you to remember is actually this one formula over here and the other one is over there. So if I remember these 2 formula, I am actually done with this problem. So one is over here, the other is for this generalized curvilinear coordinate system. If you remember, then everything becomes very good. I hope you understood. If there are any questions, you are welcome to discuss with me. I will be happy to explain. So do not worry about divergence theorem proof and the curl theorem. We will tackle it at the appropriate time in this course. Okay. Thank you. Bye.